Hey y'all, I have my notes on my phone, I have my drink of the day, and we're gonna get into this August reading wrap up, okay? If you're new here, my name is Noelle, and on this channel we talk all things books and bookish related, so if that's your jam, hey, stick around. All right, so in August, it wasn't the reading month that I anticipated it would be. However, it was a solid month for me. I read 6 books. I'd anticipated reading a few more, but didn't quite make it. And I'm actually okay with that because the books that I read this month were good reads. I had a good time. So settle in, take a sippy sip of your drink, and we're going to get to it. So these may be in order, they may not be. If y'all don't know this, if you follow me on Goodreads, I have been piss poor at keeping track of my reads this year, like really, really bad, to the point where I just kind of almost want to abandon it, but not at the same time because it was helpful to me in the past. I don't know what's been up with me this year, but I am hoping that, I won't even say this month, I will say in Q4, that I will bring back keeping track of my reading, whether it's in Goodreads or Storygraph or Fable or all of the above. I do want to get back to that tracking mechanism because it is helpful for me in terms of even just remembering what the heck I read. Okay, so these may be in order, they may not be. However, I do remember the first book that I read this month, and that's because in my last wrap up, I think I had just started this, and that is Plus Size Player by Danielle Allen. I think I was a couple of chapters in on the last wrap up, and y'all, this book, I absolutely had such a good time reading this book. Here, let me see what I rated it in my notes. So I rated this an easy 4 stars, okay? I think I'm gonna try keeping the books up on the screen somewhere on one side or the other, just so that you guys always know, like if you move to another part of the video, you know what book I'm actually talking about at that time. So Plus Size Player was so much fun to read. The banter, the back and forth, the spice, like all of it, it was a winner here for me. So you have Nina, who is, I'll call her a woman of this era, okay? She's a fly girl and she's doing her thing, and my girl has a roster, okay? She has a man for every area of her life. She has her intellectual, she has her fun guy. Like, she has the guy who makes her laugh. And I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all. She's dating, okay? This is what dating is supposed to look like. Well, that's my thought anyway. I'm no longer dating, but that is my thought. And so she has this roster until she doesn't. You know, she ends up liking one of the guys a little bit more. And when I tell you, Russ, he's unmatched, okay? In terms of the roster. In terms of the roster, he's unmatched, and she has a really good time with him. But there's a little bit of a hiccup. And it's it's a big hiccup, okay? It's a huge hiccup in the story with her dating him, and we get to experience how they handle this and how they deal with this in the book. This book was funny as all hell. The banter felt real. There's something about the way that Black women write Black characters. I can relate, okay? The language used, the words used, the vibes, like it's me. Okay. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm Nina, but I'm saying that these are my people. Okay. That's all. I loved it. I loved it, loved it, loved it. It was fun. I was sad when the book ended. It was just a really good time. I had a really good time reading this one. And so, like I said, an easy 4 stars for me. The second book, I think, that I read, okay, I was just going to say the second book we're going to discuss is Whispers of the Lake by Shanora Williams. And I read this one on my Kindle. It's on Kindle Unlimited, or it was when I read it. And so I don't have a physical copy of the book. But I've read another book by Shonora, and I loved her writing style. So I was intrigued to get back into something else that she's produced. Now, this book was very unlike the other book that I read. I think the previous book that I read was a romance, and this one was a mystery thriller. So it was kind of a saddish one, but it was hella messy. Oh my gosh, it was so messy. So you have our FMC Rose, and Rose is dealing with the heartbreak of a lifetime, okay? I mean, baby girl was going through it. And it's crazy because she couldn't even really like deal with it because her former best friend, who is basically, well, was basically like a sister to her, Eve, comes up missing. Eve's gone. Eve's little sister is hitting Rose up like, hey girl, have you heard from my sister? She doesn't know that they're former friends. So she's like, no. Anywho, Eve disappears from time to time, but this time just feels different. There's clues. There's just so much happening. And so Rose, even though it's the last thing she wants to do, she sets off to go and try to find Eve, more so to put Eve's sister's mind at rest. But she goes off to go find Eve. And in tracking her down, like she ends up at this cottage in North Carolina. And I'm looking at my notes because y'all know my memory is bad. And so this story, it's told from Rose's perspective, but then you have these journal entries, which I actually really like, that are from Eve. So you tend to get Eve's perspective throughout the story. Now, as the mystery thrillers go, for me, this felt like a little predictable. I saw pretty much everything coming. I saw the sketchy characters for what they were when I was being misdirected or led off path. I felt it. At a certain point, it was very obvious to me who the bad guy was. It just, for me, it was predictable. However, the writing kept me in the story. There's a way that Shonora describes characters, describes scenes that just really, you're in it with her, okay? You're there. And that kept me drawn into the story. So would I recommend it even though I didn't fully enjoy it? Yes. And especially if you like messiness. And I think I would say this was more of a mystery than a thriller to me. That's my opinion. And I gave this, I want to give it a 3, okay? But I'm going to give it a 3.5 because Rose was a writer. Like she was determined on so many levels. And so I give it a 3.5, and that's because a homegirl was a writer. That's it. Next up, we're going to talk about the Paradise Problem by the writing duo, Christina Lauren. Okay, so the Paradise Problem, wow. Okay, so we have Liam and we have Anna. They didn't know each other. I want to say Anna was friends with Liam's brother. They didn't know each other. They got married so that they could get affordable family housing in college. Okay. I think he was in a PhD program at the time, and she was in undergrad, I believe. And so they got married. Semester was over. They got divorced, or so she thought. And he pops up 3 years later with this proposition. So his family thinks that he's still married, or that he is married and his wife has just been kind of MIA for these years. There's a family event and he needs her to be there. He has said that she would be there, that his wife would be joining him. And so he shows up with this proposition for her. Of course, she needs money. She's a struggling artist and she is down bad. And so she needs money. So she agrees to be his wife for this family event, which is a wedding on a private island. Okay. And I mean, she couldn't have known this, but my girl was on the island with the family from Succession. If you've seen this show, if you've heard about this show, like, that family they were wild, and his family is wild. I mean, you put billionaires in the room and you got a lot of drama happening about money. And so it was just, again, messy. Very, very messy. I was calling my man Liam the liar because, I mean, he stayed lying to somebody, right? And family, they irked the hell out of me. Like, for real, for real. It was bad. It was bad. Not the book was bad, but his family was bad. And you know that saying that says that there's like no ethical way to be a billionaire? I mean, one, I want to find out on my own. Let me see. Let me see. But also, this family proved that to be true because they were awful on so many levels. Now, I say that, and even though these people got on my nerves, I had a good time reading this book. I don't know why, but I really enjoyed it. It was entertaining and it was messy, and I guess it was just something that I needed. It wasn't groundbreaking. It was a great read for the summer. Like, this is a good book if you're going on vacation. It's low investment, low emotion. It was fun. I think I gave it, let me see. I gave it 3 stars. Yeah, I was glad I got it in the summer though. So I can stop looking at the cover and saying I need to read it. Next up, we're going to discuss Miss Abby. Abby Jimenez and Say You'll Remember Me. It was an anticipated read of the summer, which her books always are, and it wasn't my favorite book by her. This one, it was borderline. It was just insta-lovey as hell. Okay, that's the basic. But it's about a vet. His name is Xavier, and he meets Samantha when she brings a dog into his clinic. Their first encounter is hella rough, but when they connect, my God. And then after they connect, she picks up and moves clear across country. So we deal with that and the fallout and the emotion of that. This book, per Dear Abby, it has all of the real life and emotional stuff that you're used to with the Abby Jimenez book. It you really go through it with them, you know. Samantha has a lot of family stuff happening, which is why she moves. And it's hard stuff. But one thing about Abby, though, she's going to write it right through it, you know, real talk. And you are going to feel all of the feels with her writing. And so that's what I actually enjoyed about this book. There were lots of quotes. I have the hard copy, but I think I read it mostly on my Kindle. But I highlighted a bunch of stuff. So many quotes. One that I love says, "You think it's the big memories you should be chasing." And it is in a way. Birthdays and vacations and special occasions. But the small memories are the fabric of your life, the ones so inconsequential that you don't even remember them. You just remember how you felt when you were making them. So good. So good. So yeah, this one, the familial stuff, it felt real. The romance was just too insta-lovey for me. But storytelling, still solid. It was Abby, you know. I gave this one 3.25 stars. So definitely not my favorite Abby read, but it was still good. All right, now we're going to talk about Beach Read from Emily Henry. I would consider myself an Emily Henry fan, okay? I'm going to sit this book down. I said that I was going to put the book's pictures up on the screen, and then I've been sitting here waving these books around like a crazy person. I'm sure when I start editing this, I'm going to be like, girl, what were you doing? But I am not going to film it over. I promise I'm not going to film it over. Okay, so Beach Read. I consider myself an Emily Henry fan, okay? But this one, probably 75 pages in, I was like, girl, what is this? So this book is about 2 authors, January and Gus, and they end up being neighbors on the beach. That I won't tell you how they get to be neighbors, but they're neighbors on the beach. And in a random chain of events, they end up challenging each other to get out of like their creative ruts or whatever. And so I didn't. January wore me out. Okay, I felt like she was borderline insufferable at some points. Now, I mean, granted, some bad things happened, but she definitely internalized those things that happened. She had a lot of thoughts about them, and that's fine, but it was just the way that she handled a lot of the stuff. It felt immature to me. That's the best explanation that I can come up with. It just felt immature. I was like, girl, if you don't grow the hell up, like, come on. But I also understand where she's coming from. I think it was just maybe the book just dwelled on it so much that it just really got on my dang old nerves. It got better. It got better. And January became a little less insufferable, and Gus became a little less grumpy because he was. And I started having a better time as I was reading it. By the end of the book, though, y'all, I was bawling. I was in tears by the end of the book. Wild, but whatever. But I will say that Emily Henry definitely earned my buy-in on this book. She earned it with her writing. Like I said, it's not one of my favorite works of hers, but I did enjoy reading this book. And I can see why people have very strong feelings about this book. You know, I think I mentioned this in my TBR video that Emily Henry fans either really love this book or they hate it. And I feel like that same thread is woven through other reads. I don't know. I feel like people are either on one side or the other in the way that they feel about Emily Henry books. I feel like the people who like certain books of hers hate the other set of books, and the people who like that other set of books hate the other ones. It's so interesting. I feel like most people aren't middle of the road fans of hers, which is, it's just an observation. I'll put it that way. But yeah, this one, Beach Read, I gave it 3.5 stars. I thought it was fun. I didn't love it, because like I said, January got on my nerves, but I thought it was a good time and it was a good read. The last book I read in August was Till Summer Do Us Part by Megan Quinn. And I'm so glad it was last, because it was the funniest damn book I read all month. Like, hands down, the book had me almost falling off the treadmill laughing because it was that freaking funny to me. Just hilarious. Now, the plot of the book is based off of something completely ridiculous. Like, the lie that was told that sends us on this path of events, ridiculous. Somebody lies at work about being married. Woman named Scotty, she works in a company, everybody's married. It's a bunch of male coworkers. The CEO is a woman. And everybody's talking about their wives and spouses in this meeting. And she says something about her husband that she doesn't have, okay? One of the coworkers is like, why don't you wear a ring if you're married? You're not married. Y'all, she locks in on this lie, okay? And it turns out she's like, well, you know, I don't wear a ring because we're having difficulties right now. Well, okay. Dig yourself in, sis. The CEO's husband is a marriage counselor. So she pulls her aside and basically she kind of says, you and your husband should go talk to my husband and work on your marriage because that's important. Well, all of the hilarity ensues because baby girl got to find a husband to go to counseling with. So she's talking to her best friend and he says, well, why don't you take my brother? He'll do it. So his brother, Wilder, shows up. Now, she's never met the brother before, okay? That's you see why this is funny, right? She's never met the brother before. So they meet 15 minutes before they're supposed to go into marriage counseling for the first time. and she and Wilder go on this adventure. They end up agreeing to go to like a couples retreat. And I can't stop laughing because the book was that funny to me. Well, I won't even say they agreed to go. He agreed to go. And he was just completely unhinged on so many levels. And it was cool to see the character arcs throughout the book, but it was just funny. It was funny. It was a good time. I don't get into how it ends or even the super flow of the story, but it was a good time. Highly recommend. Even if it's not summer, I just thought this was funny and it was good. Easy 4 stars. Easy. Well, that is my August reading wrap up. That's all I read for the month. Now, I did have some other things that were on my TBR that I really wanted to get to, like Zeal. I started it. I think I'm on chapter 3, but that's as far as I got. I also did not finish Sweet Heat in August, which was an arc that I received, and it was pub day, I think it was September 2nd, and I actually started that one, so I'm halfway through Delayed Child Life Delay, okay, but halfway through that one, and so I am hoping to have a review up for that one really soon. Yeah, August was good. It was good. It was solid. I am hoping that September reaps a little bit more fruit. I have a good list of books that are on my TBR. If you haven't seen that, go ahead and pop into watch my TBR video that I did for September. But yeah, August, it was solid. I had nothing less than a 3-star this month. And so I'll take it. I'll take it. All right. Oh, wait. Y'all, I always forget this. I want to remind you to enter the giveaway. I will link the video in the comments. You have until the 14th to win a copy of If You Stayed by Brittany Cherry. So I'll leave that in the comments. And that's all I have for today, good people. I will see you all next week. Bye.